Working on it. I don't think we can hear you on the stream.
Here.
Yeah, we can hear us. Cannot hear you. We love technical difficulties.
Gotta love technical difficulties. Yes, hello and welcome, chat. Our producer is having some technological issues and perhaps areas as well. Ari, are you having technological issues over there?
No, I was just curious what the blur filter did when I held up my Imperial Knight. It turns out it gets very confused just to see when it sees this close.
So yes, welcome to Eldritch Adversaries, a V5 stream here on Magic Fish Radio, where we come to have fun and hopefully entertain you. I am your storyteller for the evening. Hopefully you all keep coming back because you either like supporting this channel, regardless of the sound of my voice, or you actually find me entertaining, which would surprise no one more than it would surprise me. My players this evening are, as usual, the fantastic Dracus, directly below me. Over here in the adjacent square, Ari. And then right beside me is our wonderful producer, who may or may not have solved her tech issues. All right, then. So Charisse will still be in the library reading. Before we get underway, a little bit of usual housekeeping. Here on Magic Fish Radio, we use viewpoints in order to allow you to purchase things. Oh, no.
Channel points.
Channel points. Terribly sorry. Channel points. In order to purchase things to help or hinder the players or the storyteller, in order to put your own little mark onto the narrative. In the case of this channel, you can purchase additional die that either myself or the players can pull from pools when they think, one more die maybe to help edge out my chances of success in this very important situation.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay.
Chat's coming through now loud and clear?
Yep.
I don't know. There's no one in chat. I don't know.
I meant on the stream.
Yes. No, you're audible on the stream. I have it pulled up.
Thank you.
I'm going to mute it now.
Yeah.
Mercury retrograde.
Yes. You can also purchase points to go into a willpower pool because willpower is a resource that the players can theoretically pull from. And if they pull from when they have to make willpower checks, they are making from decreased pools. So that is important. You also have the ability to allow them to turn a messy critical into a bestial failure, which makes the whole thing slightly less bad, but still could potentially borderline on a masquerade breach. So it's usually less of a problem to clean up. But yes, we will have Dracus as Vern, Ari as Isabel, and Ms. Chrysla as Charisse. Welcome back to Pauli, ladies and gentlemen, here in the mid-1920s, where shit has really yet to hit the fan for the second time, because everyone's still in the midst of cleaning up the shit from the last time.
Surely there could never be a worse war than the World War.
The Great War. You must say it like that.
The Great War.
Not to be confused with the Garu's Great War, or the Kindred's Great War, or...
There have been a lot of great wars.
To be fair, 3 of them are still happening.
Yeah. Advantage mortals, they finished theirs.
And 2 of them have yet to happen, but everyone knows it's coming, so everyone's preparing for it.
Okay, speaking of channel points from like 10 minutes ago, Players, we have 4 +1s in the pool, 1 extra willpower, and 1 extra crit thingy.
Alrighty.
The GM has 19 +1s.
Okay. Fadior has been very generous with those +1s, because I went through a couple of them last session.
Fadior and probably Vampiric Yoda if he showed up.
I don't think it's him in this game.
Okay.
I think it's mostly Fadior.
Fadior. Thanks, Fadior. In another 20 minutes, the bot will tell Discord that we're streaming. And then Fadior will get here. Oh. At this point, I'm just glad that the stream is running, fingers crossed, because it has been a rough day for a lot of people on Twitch today, and... Well,
It's been a rough day for a lot of people, period. What with all of that toxic smoke coming in from Jersey over Manhattan.
Yeah, someone mentioned that. It's like, oh, how could it be your bread machine that's still causing smoke when New Jersey's on fire? And I'm like, did you not see my Instagram post? By the way, bread machines are stupid and badly designed.
Wait, Jersey's on fire?
Yeah, I mean, it was bound to happen eventually. I don't actually remember the details because my apartment was on fire yesterday. So
I mean, fair and valid, but
I'm
man, I don't pay attention to the news at all, do I?
Oh, New Jersey has like 3 Superfund sites and like 8 dozen landfills, and I'm surprised every time California is like half on fire, I'm looking over at Jersey and going like, they've got a lot of catching up to do. Speaking of, hi, Vampiric Yoda. So that's another GM +1. So now you have an even 20. Woohoo! I almost died in a baking accident. I'll never laugh at that choking into the woods again.
Less funny, or is it more funny now?
Less.
The pain on your face.
Firefighters battled a large fire at a junkyard in Port Newark that sent smoke across the Hudson River and impacted New York City's air quality.
Ooh,
The fire broke at the Eastern Metal Recycling Terminal on Calcutta Street.
Oh, yesterday I drifted into a snowbank. Thankfully, just the snowbank. My car was fine, I was fine, and the pole on the other side of the snowbank, my car was going like 5 miles an hour. It was just skidding.
Ugh.
I just could not make the turn, so I skidded into a snowbank.
Maybe
So I'm glad we all made it here tonight.
Yeah. I don't think a 5 mile an hour car crash into a stationary snowbank would kill anybody. I'd hope.
Don't say. And any other day it would be funny. Today, don't
challenge fate.
Don't challenge fate, hun. Whoa.
I already challenged it, and I was like, I'm okay, and my car was fine, so who cares?
Oh.
Sorry. I don't know. I'm weirdly blasé about what happened.
Okay. Meanwhile, how are we destroying the world in-game today?
That's entirely up to you.
Woohoo!
But when last we left you all, it was the evening after some of you had your various escapades. This is, of course, the evening when several mages have arrived at the hotel and the office of your current
benefactor,
overseer, caretaker, however you wish to refer to this person. So, Charisse, you have your opportunity to start reading through some magey documents, which they're really only allowing you because you're not a fucking Tremere, and because favors were exchanged, favors that no one will ever talk about, lest certain people hear about it and find out that deals between mages and kindred were made.
I mean, if Charisse were anyone else, she would probably just actually say, "Yeah, fuck the Tremere, man." But no, she doesn't talk like that. She's like, "Oh, understood." What do these mages look like, or do they have that thing where I don't know what they look like, but I know that they're there in front of me?
Well,
yay, arcane!
When you head up to his office in order to discuss your your means of reading through this particular tome, or tomes rather, because there were two you were interested in reading. And
did I write down what they were? I'm not sure I did.
You are greeted, well, when you rise from the office, you are greeted once again by a well-dressed Nosferatu who acts as steward and bodyguard here at the entranceway to Garrison's very lush office. But instead of leading you past the four secretaries who are currently tapping away and communicating on telephones and wire services, he leads you down a separate door on the left, which brings you into a large sitting room and reading area, where there is a large conference table set out, and there are two figures present, each one with a large tome tucked under their hands, looking around nervously, and Garrison Toussaint himself, who, now more aware of your preferences, goes, "Madame, if you please." Being sure to keep a proper distance so as not to cause you discomfort, as he apparently did accidentally prior.
Well, he was just very handsy that time. Like, she can stand next to someone.
Well, no, it's less of the kiss you on the cheeks in a way that he normally would and doesn't think twice of that made you uncomfortable. So it's like, again, it was handsy from your perspective, but to him it was just
normal.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
But now realize
playing my flaws.
Yes, which is important.
It's not just freebie points.
Yeah, but understanding that this made you uncomfortable, he now makes a point to not, because he's a businessman and he likes it when his clients are happy, because then they'll come back and actually spend money instead of him just paying off someone else's boon because he owed them a boon. So, the two figures you see when you're stepping in here, one is a gentleman he has a very, very strong blush to his cheeks, and he has this mop of curly red hair. He looks to be in maybe his mid to late 30s. He's clutching the tome he's carrying a bit more tightly than his compatriot, and he's looking around a bit nervously. He's dressed in a simple button-down shirt with slacks and a blue overcoat. The woman who is also present holding the other tome has very tightly curled brown hair, much darker complexion, and while she looks to be maybe 10 or 15 years younger than him, she seems to be exuding a good deal more confidence, and he is standing slightly behind her, sort of acknowledging that she is the superior in this particular instance, or at least that she is the more dominant representative. Ms. Lowe, allow me to introduce some of my associates from some of the local mage traditions. You'll excuse me if I don't give proper introductions, but they would prefer to keep any potential leaks of names and traditions out of the books.
Understood. It is very nice to meet you both.
The gentleman sort of like, the woman in front goes, you speak French, so you would understand this. And she turns and she starts speaking in French to Garrison, going, "We'll be expected back in 2 days, and we need to have the books back with us and in the library, otherwise people will begin to notice that they are missing. So that's all your friend here has. And if we find out that you lied to us and she's Tremere, I'm burning your entire hotel to the ground." Would I lie to you, Sherry? After everything we've been through. And I don't know why you're trying so hard to keep it secret. She speaks French. Her eyes narrow, and she
I say in French, well, I mean, I'm an American, but I'm not a Tremere, thus I come to France speaking French. Would an American Tremere come to France to speak French?
In the back, the gentleman goes, to be fair, it wouldn't be the first time they tried. Please just sit down so that we can resolve this quickly.
Of course.
And the two of them set the tomes down, and each one is a book containing, at the very least, the basics of certain forms of scripture magic or rune magic. One dealing with defensive wards, and the other dealing with meditation practices for strengthening one's minds. And while you take the time to read through these books, make me an intelligence occult check to see how much this comes out as gibberish and how much it doesn't.
Is it written in any particular language, or is this a magic effect?
They brought to you ones that are written in French. So these are translations of, and French being their dominant language, that's the language they copy these texts from whatever they were, possibly Latin, possibly something older. You can ask if you wish, but the two books in front of you are in French.
Okay, what's occult? I have a skill spec in sorcery for my occult.
So yeah, you get the extra die.
Okay, that is 9 dice.
Mm-hmm.
Lots and lots of dice.
That's one of the great things about Storyteller system, is just the amount of dice you can roll. It's so satisfying.
I'm very sad at the lack of 10s, but I'll live with it. And of course, one of those was a hunger dice.
Yeah.
And a cat.
Yep.
The office cat has his own opinions on these works, on these translations. That is only 4 successes.
Yeah.
Sad face.
With four successes, you understand the basic principles presented in all of these, but they are also referencing sensations and practices which you, as a kindred, cannot replicate. So while you understand the basic things they're explaining to you, the fact when they mention drawing on the mind sphere or commenting on manipulation of the time sphere and spirit sphere, it's not a thing that you can replicate necessarily. So you're gaining a better understanding of magic, but you're not capable of casting it.
Okay, when it comes to the mind book, or the brain book, is there anything that, like, conceptually I can do, like lower level stuff, like meditation practice, things that will help me add to my skills and attributes and or merits, if not sphere magic? Jetson has an opinion. Jetson,
Yes,
you're not the GM.
No.
Did you just hiss at me? Goodness gracious.
He did not hiss at you, no. I would say yes. You would be able to use this as a good starting point to boost, like, say, your composure or your resolve, which would be like your more defensive stats when it comes to, personality and mentality. So you could use this as justification for purchasing into those in order to better ward yourself. But like what little bits you're gleaming here, because even the most basic meditation refers to having it references having a basic understanding of the mind sphere or the spirit sphere. So it's not something that you can gain the full advantage of, but it's a thing that you could probably use to help guard your mind a little bit more.
Okay. All right.
Every once in a while, your husband pops in. the transcriber's handwriting is atrocious.
And where's that damn cat come from? I just quite mentally say, well, any port in a storm, dear. I'll take what I can get.
I know. I mean, if this is the standard for mage handwriting, then good lord, it's a wonder they've ever been considered a threat to us all. How could they even read their own spells?
Well, from what it sounds like in this tome... Exactly! Yes, that. So they didn't even really need to write them down. There's a ghost cat sitting on the side, sitting on the next chair just yowling, and only me and one of the mages can see it.
All right, I'm going to be honest. I might have to ask another favor, because the alley cats that have been wandering into this area have been getting very annoying. Is there a way you can soundproof the windows? Because apparently soundproofing via regular glass not working terribly well. Is there like some mage inscriptions you can do? Because it's really getting quite annoying. I have a lot of paperwork to do and a lot of guests to deal with. I'll think about it. That's all I ask, please. It's not like I won't pay for it.
Wait, aren't we on like the 13th floor?
Yeah.
And we could hear the alley cats. Wow.
It depends on if they wound up on the roof of a nearby building.
Parisian
Sound
cat.
is weird.
Sound is weird. Drek is in chat. I'm starting to imagine the Malk Mind Network has a resident cat that no one can explain. Exactly.
It does.
Yes. Or just one of my ancestors, someone I'm tangentially connected to, just meows when they're anything, experiencing any emotion.
Their derangement is that they think they're a cat.
I mean, it's the Malk Network. Okay, so yeah, she'll study that for a bit, but she suspects that yeah, she didn't think there would be much sorcery that mages could teach her, because like she can't do sphere stuff, and she's not sure she could do hedge magic, if that's even still a thing in 5th edition.
V5 does not contain anything dealing with hedge magic. If they maybe do a Mage 5, that might come up. But until Mage 5 eventually releases, which won't be until after Werewolf and Hunter, so who knows, Renegade.
And then Renegade will decide to do their own systems from scratch, and everyone will boycott the World of Darkness forever.
Blackjack and hookers.
We're not bitter about anything that happened this weekend, I swear.
Wait, what happened this weekend?
We'll talk about it break. Anyway. So yeah, she's gonna look at the book, the other one that's more scripture and rune magic and wards and stuff, and just because that's kind of what she's looking for. Is she wants to be able to identify if there's magic she can see. She wants to be able to identify it more accurately.
If you spend one day researching one book and one day researching the other, you could use one to justify a purchase of Composure or Resolve, and the other could be used to justify a purchase of Intellect or Occult.
Okay. Do either of the Magi warm up to her at any point, as she is very respectfully, like, you know, being very delicate with the books and...
I mean, that depends on if you attempt to engage with them or not. Mostly one just sort of cowers in the corner, giving off mostly unease and nervousness, and the other one sits there, mostly shooting daggers at Garrison whenever he enters or leaves the room. But otherwise, the two of them sit there, not interacting with you much, but just occasionally sipping a tea.
Okay, well, she's... Much as she would like to make friends, like, she's only got 2 days with these books.
Yeah.
And she doesn't want to get these nice people in trouble, so... Bookworm mode activated.
Yeah. Garrison, you know, ultimately leaves shortly after the introductions are made because he has shit to do.
Like dealing with those damn cats. At least they're not the exploding kind.
Yep. Nope. No Shamise suicide bomber cats.
Or Path of the Wild Barbarians. That's Thursday. Anyway, Alright, yeah, so Charisse is just gonna keep reading for the nighttime parts of the next 48 hours. While I go and look at my how much XP I have to spend.
Yep.
And also, okay, I'll ask you about that if it comes up.
Okay.
I have XP questions, but later.
Okay.
So just read. Oh my god, it's mage stuff. Mage stuff that I can't do, but it's mage stuff, so it's still cool.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wait,
all right.
Is high speech? I've been playing too much NWAD. Is high speech a thing in Old Mage? Like, do they have their own magical mage language that she can maybe learn from reading this book? Or that is mostly in French, but still.
I do not recall if that is a thing from the old World of Darkness, but these books are in French, so you can pick up on magic terms, and you could maybe fake being a Tremere who used to be a mage if you really wanted to, if you picked up enough basic stuff. Well, you know, if you have to infiltrate an area.
I'm not No. No. I have disembodied friends. Why would I need to infiltrate anywhere?
You may be surprised.
True. They do have wards. Well, they have wards versus ghosts and spirits, but that may or may not be what Mortimer is. We'll see.
Just walk through a ward, then you'll find out if he's a ghost.
Bonk! Ow! Ow!
Anyways.
I mean,
who puts an electrified fence 50 feet in the air?
I mean, that's better than the sounds of his soul screaming as he tries walking through a barrier.
Yeah. Fucking Tremere, man. Yep, so that's me.
All right.
Next.
We will now move on to Isabel.
Yes, hello?
This is shortly after you watch them drag away someone who they thought you were going to feed on, and they brought here specifically because they thought this was a person you were going to feed on and kill, because they considered this person expendable and suitable for that purpose. And you, at that point, became aware that they were probably just going to drag this woman off and kill her, because her removal from the storyline was something they anticipated to happen, and were not prepared for her to not be removed from the storyline.
Well, I don't know. The other American did a murder. I don't know what's wrong with this one.
Yeah, the other one wanted a full meal, ate the full meal. To be fair, kept things mostly pretty tidy.
Isabel is having a weird day.
Cleanest Nazda ever eaten in the hotel, to be honest.
Yeah, Isabel, I think, is... How hungover is Isabel still?
Like, you're still like, I mean, that was good and all. I mean, I don't know. That human blood, it just didn't have quite the zing it used to. Oh man, I could really go for another shot of the good stuff. I mean, it was a little trippy, but I made it home all right. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I should have drained her dry. There's just.
Do I need to make some kind of willpower roll against addiction?
You can make me a. What would this be?
Rule number 1: do not get high off your own product. He's a really bad drug dealer.
You know what? Let's call this one Resolve Occult.
Oh no! Do you know how many what my dice pool for that is?
Use a +1.
My dice pool for that is 1 die. I have a resolve of 1 and an occult of 0.
One die is the least you get for any check.
We have 4 +1s in the pool. And 1 additional willpower. You can also spend willpower on this roll.
Yep. Do what exactly?
You can spend willpower to give yourself another die.
Okay.
And you can pull one die from the pool of 4 that you have. So you can roll theoretically as many as 3.
No.
Or you could just not fight it.
All right. Yeah, I think she's gonna fight it here. I think that so. Roll vampire 5 dice roller. Here it is. Yeah, I think I'll get to the 3 dice. I'll spend one of our +1s, and I will spend a willpower, and that will bring me to 3. Right?
Yep.
2 successes.
Okay. 2 successes. With 2 successes, you're able to fight off this desire to go straight back to Moulin Rouge because it's Paris. There's so much to do here, and I can always go back for a little tipple later. The little tipple of the rainbow stuff does sound pretty good, but we can put this off. We can put this off a little bit.
I've been around addicts. Obviously, I'm not an addict. It's a problem for lower class people. Isabel's worst. Yeah. I think Isabel, like, after all that, after waking up nonsense and shaking off this very intense desire that she's never really felt before, and is definitely not totally comfortable with.
You're actually going to need to re-roll that because I made a mistake.
Oh?
You used to be able to burn willpower to gain additional die in an older version of Vampire, and I wanted to double check something real quick. Willpower, you can spend 1 point in order to re-roll up to 3 regular dice for a check.
Okay. Good to know. So let's start that check over then.
Yeah, that was my fault. I'm like,
time with 2 dice.
I had to double check something real quick, and then willpower showed up, and I'm like, oh, oops.
I'm gonna willpower. Okay, so I did use my willpower anyway. This time I got 3 successes.
Okay, so you're able to resist the desire to go back.
3 successes on 2 dice, baby.
You only had the 1 hit, so you're not in the full throes of it yet. But the desire to it will be harder to resist should it be presented to you again.
Good to know. I think maybe she's going to make the decision to perhaps spend the rest of her time in Paris elsewhere.
All right.
The first thing she's curious about is, hey, where did Vern go?
All right. Vern, you have also awoken from your dead sleep. So you hear as you wake up and you are presented with your option to feed in the morning, as your evening snack steps outside, you hear the sound of a figure being dragged through the hallway as they excuse themselves and then close the door behind them. The dragging noise sounded like it started coming from Isabel's room.
Oh, huh. I'm gonna, make myself presentable here in the morning and go knock on Isabel's door.
So Isabel, you just splash some water on your face. Well, no, not gonna go back. It was a little too trippy. And then knock at the door.
Hello. And she's gonna open the door.
It's Vern! Ta-da! Guys, I don't know to.
You look like hell.
I don't know how to respond to that in a way that's tactful.
But fair enough.
It turns out, so, Fayblood is a good time, but...
You did what now?
So Moulin Rouge is run by the Fae. I had a very wonderful time that I can remember only good things about, but they're all very vague and not quite... Whew. Never had anything like that before.
I literally don't know how to process that information, Isabel. What the fuck?
How was your day? How was your night, rather?
Yeah, went and hung out with the local Nos. It was cool.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Are there, like, visible scars from the fight?
No, at this point, like, the split lip would have all healed over.
All right, vampire. Yeah, that makes sense. All right, vampires. Yeah. So the catacombs, huh? Did you make any, like, new friends down there?
You could say that. There's one lady who probably wants to beat the shit out of me, you know, in a friendly competition sort of way. I hope.
You hope. As in, you hope she doesn't want to kill you, or you hope she doesn't want to sleep with you, just to make sure?
Either.
Fair enough.
I beat her once, though, so...
Ooh. See, honestly, I could see it being either way. That's it.
So Fayblood, we're not avoiding this topic.
Yes. Well. So as it turns out, Fayblood is probably probably illegal. Definitely a lot. And I don't know if I want to go, and I feel the constant desire to go back there, and the conscience part of me fears that I may become an addicted, worthless junkie. I can't very well be running anything if I'm in that kind of state.
Yeah, no. So you're not going back there?
No, not anytime soon.
Do I need to keep an eye on you?
Perhaps we should travel together for some time.
All right.
Besides, wouldn't it be more, besides, we're here, it's the two of us here in Paris. We shouldn't be like off on our own all the time with like just meeting. I mean, come on. We're brother and sister. Why are we just like going off to do our own thing at this point?
Because we lead vastly different lives at this point, but point stands.
Right. You're right. I'm sorry. I'm just...
Yeah, about the only place the two of you could go together without it being a masquerade breach would be the closed off sections of other vampire-owned establishments throughout Paris. Of which there are.
I could obfuscate all the time. However, I have things I would like to get done.
Yeah.
Okay. We could, at one point, use your obfuscate and my dominate to get into a museum and get into a museum and just hang out, possibly to steal some things. Who knows at this point?
Sorry, just like completely out of character there. I'm like, oh yeah, break into a museum and steal shit. Stop, Dracus, your rogue is showing bad.
We a rogue? It's fine. To be fair, it's vampire. Who's not a rogue in Vampire the Masquerade?
That's true. But it was not on my list of things that this character would do, you know?
I don't know, just...
No.
Well, I mean, was murder on your list?
Maybe.
Okay.
Vern, I'd like you to make me a wits politics check, please.
Got to remember what that looks like for me.
And don't forget to sub in your hunger dice where applicable.
Yep. Six or better is a success, right?
Correct. And 10 counts as 2.
That was a ridiculously good roll.
What'd you
That's
get?
6 successes on 4 dice.
Excellent.
Damn!
So, at the suggestion of your dear, beautiful, wonderful sister to break into a museum and steal shit, you, as a Nosferatu, a clan of spies and occasional bodyguards for other kindred throughout the lands, you know full well that in some instances, especially in the old cities of Europe and in the old cities of the Middle East that have museums, those museums sometimes tend to have particular patrons, wealthy mortals, wealthy kindred, who donate things from their private collections. In the case of kindred, those things from their private collections tend to actually be their stuff. So you could accidentally steal something that belongs to a kindred who's been around for 800 years and might have a tiny issue with you jacking their favorite broadsword.
Yeah.
Wow.
So at Isabel's suggestion, I'll be like, we could break into the museum. We are not stealing shit.
I just want to be able to say we could.
I know, I just...
I can't help but wonder if John has something worse up his sleeve, since he actively told you not to pick up the most obvious plot point.
No.
I'm so confused right now. What kind of game is this?
This is a thing you can do, but you see, this is something that a Nosferatu would theoretically be more aware of. As information brokers, they would be aware that certain kindred would be on these boards, and that would be their shit on display. Because there's probably been people who've come up to them and tried to get them to steal said shit because of rivalries. Now, bear in mind, if you were to take the time to investigate, find out about a less than friendly kindred grudge, and then maybe stole someone's favorite tapestry from one museum and delivered it to a kindred that's going to love to just lay it out on their reading room and then trudge muddy boot prints all over it and then send it back to their hated rival, you know, that's a thing you can do. You have connections among the Nos to ask these questions. I just wanted to make it clear that if you went in without a plan, it could be bad.
Okay. Then the question is, what can we get out of it in return?
Yes, I think there's something. I was just suggesting we potentially go on a spree. You're saying that we could. I was just suggesting we go on a spree, but you're saying that this is. Ooh, this is interesting.
There's information to be gained, and people will trade for it.
And where there's information to be gained, there's money as well.
If that's what you're after.
I'm after a number of things.
I have no idea what's going on. I'm just reading my book.
Yeah. We're over here planning a heist, and Charisse is like, mage stuff.
Wait, should I have let the neonates unattended? I'm sure they're fine.
Oh yes, my love, I'm sure everything will be fine. Very soon it will just be us returning to the Americans.
Hey, if it's only them returning to the Americans and the Fae never come to Boston, Boston still exists then. I can't fulfill that contract if I'm dead, I think. Permanently. For real.
You didn't manage to get through the Fae legalese of the contract.
I did not. Even though I have... My favorite thing about that sequence is I think I failed every single roll, despite rolling quite well on almost all of them.
To be fair, you only failed the Fae legalese check by 1.
Oh,
because it was a set score, and you failed it by 1.
Damn, I almost had that. That's disappointing.
Yep.
I should have willpowered that, because if I had, I probably would have won.
Or you could have re-rolled those 30 dice and could have come up with a worse score.
Sure.
I'm just afraid they're gonna come after her next of kin, which might be me or might be her sire. I'm not entirely sure which in the eyes of the Fae, but like, I don't want to end up on the hook for this shit.
But you don't know.
Yeah, and I have no idea that any of it even happened.
It's not like Isabel talks to Vern about business that much. It's not like Vern likes talking to Isabel about business, so why?
Not like Vern likes talking to Isabel at all.
All right. So you're saying that we could find some we could find some wealthy, connected vampire with a lot of information and a lot of money and a willingness to part with us to screw over an old rival. Now the question is, how do we pull this out and get out of here before things get too hot?
Please, I need another 24 hours to read my other book.
That's okay. They're going to need 24 to 48 hours just to track down all the information they need and then plan the heist.
It'll be fine.
So, Dracus, are you down with doing this extremely stupid plan?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm always down for a good heist, and if I can get the information that I'm looking for out of it, then, like, chaos.
Oh, would you look at that? I just increased my manipulation and persuasion scores. I can do some grifting. It's like leverage, except it's only 2 of us instead of 5 of us.
I mean, I did a heist in another game with only one other person. It went well. It went fine.
So long as you're only dealing with mortals, it's not a problem.
Yeah. So we're totally doing this now.
Yeah,
this is the plan of action now.
So John, just like when you said, okay, so Moulin Rouge is run by the Fae, and then you could potentially, and also Fae blood is a like illicit substance that you can just do drug dealing in. Why does Vampire make me do this? I didn't intend to make this character like more of a drug. I say as if she doesn't literally run a speakeasy. That's fair. Never mind.
This is Vampire the Masquerade. This is part of its DNA. There's actually a whole clan devoted to drug dealing in blood. We just don't have a lot of them in Boston. And that's a story for another day, children. Although the rate Isabel's going, she might run into them in Paris. Since, you know, they probably came here having a bone to pick with Napoleon because reasons.
He went into Egypt, fucked around, and messed everything up, and left his men to be like, bye, have fun dying, and then all his men died. Because this Egypt campaign was a hilarious misadventure that completely failed. I don't know, it's just one of my favorite bits of Napoleon trivia is the, like, Egypt's campaign. It's just complete dismal failure, and Napoleon realizing what a dismal failure was, and just getting the fuck out of Dodge. It's so funny.
Sometimes that's what you gotta do.
As we may be about to learn.
Yeah.
We're definitely post that Irish guy who sold a fake country, right?
I think so.
I don't even know that story.
Ever heard of Gregor McGregor?
You know, I'm gonna look this up later.
Gregor McGregor is one of my favorite. It's the greatest scam in all of history, where he made up a country for like Europe, where he made up a country and sold to Europeans trying to colonize a place.
Excellent.
He's just this awful piece of shit. Just scammed a bunch of other awful pieces of shit, and it's wonderful. It's such a wonderful story.
So where do we begin on planning a heist now that we've decided to do this?
Well, one of your first options would be to go speak to the rest of the Nos.
That's what I was planning to do.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
I mean, you could also try going up, up a floor to go speak to the owner of this establishment, Garrison Toussaint, because as you've learned, the members of the de Sable syndicate are all fairly well connected within their individual cities. So someone else who might know how willing he would be to part with that information you know.
So, like, what museums in this town are fun to rob? Like, you know.
She's not gonna ask that.
Which of these museums would involve me stealing from one kindred that another one really despises and would love having, like, their favorite tapestry as a throw rug?
I think the questioning would probably go something more along the lines of, we're looking for something fun and chaotic to do.
Are you dragging Isabel down with you into the catacombs?
I could not hear a word of that.
Yes, do it. It'd be more fun that way. See, here's the funny thing about Vern and Isabel. They're equally stupid when they're together as they are when they're apart, as it turns out.
I think I would prefer to start with the Nos simply because they're going to be more willing to speak to me.
Mm-hmm.
Probably.
All right.
This also just involves dragging Isabel into the catacombs, which is going to deeply amuse me.
All right. So you tell Isabel to hurry the hell up, gussy yourself up, and get ready to take the elevator all the way down.
I must admit, wasn't on my short list, but I'm excited to go nonetheless.
Right.
I'm telling her absolutely nothing about what to expect.
Isabel has no idea what to expect whatsoever. She knows, like, some of Vern's friends back at home. My God, you're right, there's a fight club. You're right, there is a fight club.
Yeah.
He stole the fight club from Nosferatu in France.
I mean, they stole from the Nosferatu period. But yes, you wait for Isabel to get dressed, you take her to the elevator, and then you tell the elevator operator all the way down. And he takes a moment, looks at Isabel, and then looks back at you.
Is that going to cause a problem?
No, it's just not coming. And he pulls
Fair enough.
And he pulls it down to that one, like, unmarked slot below lobby, and the elevator descends. You see through the grating the lobby floor, and then down you continue to go, and you pass through into that now to you a little more familiar cragged hallway that leads deep down, and he opens the grates to the elevator after you.
I will head out.
Yeah.
Once both of you step off, he closes the door and the elevator ascends. And you both walk down. And you hear voices as you are walking down, but they're not the cheering voices from the fights that you were hearing the night before. These are voices of conversation. And as you finally enter into the fight pit arena you were in before, the rings have mostly been cleared away, and you just see a bunch of Nosferatu that are milling about, talking. They're all communicating in French, as it is the language that they would default to. And they don't seem to be paying much mind to you or Isabel having walked in just yet. But they are, but there's a, you know what? Let me see if you can read this right. Make me what would be the equivalent of insight here? Oh, they have insight. Never mind. So make me a wits insight check, please.
Came to the wrong room, motherfucker.
To see if you can read the room.
6 successes, my friend.
Okay.
Yeah, I have 3 dots in insight. Isabel actually is able to read people quite. Yes, 6 and 5. I think we're doing pretty good here.
And Vern, you got what?
5.
Okay. So when the two of you walk in, you're almost immediately able to read this room. There's some concern in this room right now. Like you automatically clock the fact that these are not the happy audible cheers that you once heard. But there is like genuine concern on the faces of the kindred present here, and there is worry in their voices, which is not something you hear coming out of Na's mouths terribly often.
I'm gonna give Isabella a look like, that's weird.
Is this not how it was? So I take it this wasn't how. Yeah, I had the impression that this wasn't how it was last night either. Something seemed off here.
Mind you, that was a look. I'm not saying it out loud.
Yeah. I think
I'm not drawing attention to myself yet.
Sorry, I think Isabella like exchanges a similar look.
You were able to pick out a couple of Nos that you recognize, including the one who took a special interest in you and led you to to basically what was a homeless camp at which you could feed. So he is there currently speaking to a couple other Nos. It looks like he's trying to calm them down. When he looks up and makes eye contact with you, he starts patting them on the shoulders. He says something else, and then he starts walking towards you. Sorry, mon ami, there's not going to be any fights tonight, and I appreciate the fact that you are bringing someone in here to bet, but there's not really any time for any levity right now.
What happened?
He looks at you and goes, "Oh, right, you're the sister. Never mind." So couple of hours didn't return to their havens, and were not seen this evening. And now, for a few of them, finding some place to hide out during the day hours not too disturbing. Trouble is that two of them were neonates who don't know all of the good places to hide. And those two have been fairly good about coming back under curfew. It's not a concern for you at the moment. We're taking care of it, but I'm afraid there's no room for fights tonight, unless you're here for something else.
Well, we did come down for information this evening, actually.
Okay, I can work with information. I can pass you something along real quick, but then I'm going to have to go back to trying to get all of this sorted. So what do you need?
I have not actually been able to quantify what my question is yet, so...
what kindred here?
So...
Curry favor!
Yeah.
Yeah, we were... Yeah, I think Isabel says... There are places I can get into that might be able to, help investigate the place. If I know that obviously you probably have far more resources than I do, but there are certain advantages I have. Is there anything I can do to help in this investigation?
This is Nos business, and so long as it is resolved quickly, it can stay Nos business.
I understand. I understand. I was merely offering to aid friends.
And I do appreciate that. I do, but if it comes to the point where this is no longer Nos business and you need to get involved, then it might wind up being kindred business, and it might wind up being city business. People are on edge because there was word round that a couple of hunters had found their way into the city a few weeks ago, but then they just sort of disappeared, as the little rats are often wont to do. Whether or not they left the city or they're still here, they were very quiet, but now some of our members have gone missing, so there is cause for concern.
It is concerning.
That is concerning. I appreciate the warning.
If you don't have anything important that needs doing, I recommend you stay in the hotel above, or stick to places with lots of kindred security, just until this whole thing gets resolved. With any luck, they're going to stumble their way in here, looking embarrassed because they missed curfew and got caught having to sleep in an alley all day.
I certainly hope that's the case.
Well, now I feel very foolish. The reason we came down here, it now feels completely superficial.
And why was that?
Well,
we're looking for something to do.
Yes, we were wondering if there was some. Yes, we were wondering if there were perhaps some important kindred we could curry favor with by doing a fun activity of brother sister museum stealing nonsense. But that all seems very immaterial right now.
What?
She said it was immaterial.
Yes, I didn't think it would be nonsensical. Right.
Having the internal debate of, do I say, oh, well, she just had some Fey blood?
I think like Isabel is just like, well, this plan obviously is not a good idea, and we're not. And if there's hunters abound, that means we probably shouldn't. So I think that plan seems to be sadly not going to happen.
So to be fair, if there are hunters around, all of the kindred will be more concerned with dealing with the hunters than they will investigating the museum.
Okay, actually.
So if you wish to take the museum route, it's still a thing you can do. If you want to go hunting hunters, that's a thing you can do. If you want to stay home where it's safe, that is also a thing.
So I'm going to look at my strength 2, stamina 2, dexterity 2, and no points of fortitude and be like, maybe I shouldn't be going after hunters. I don't think this is something I'm great at unless I have like a posse or something.
Hey!
It's almost like we're in a room full of Nos.
I mean, I wouldn't mind like going. This seems like a cool quest, and I want to do it. I'm just trying to think of like a reason Isabel would have to help, because she did just offer to help and was rebuffed.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't want to start raising concern at the moment. Like this could just be a simple case of they got caught up in something and just didn't make it back, and now they're embarrassed coming back in and they're trying to sneak their way back in. They don't want to jump to the concern, but it's the fact that they had caught some hunters in the city, and then they never had record of those hunters leaving the city, and they haven't been able to find them since, which has some Nos on edge. But again, it's right now just a Nos problem and not a Paris problem.
But I mean, if a Venture just happened to follow a Nos into trouble, and just not tell the other Nos that a Venture followed me home.
It's certainly an option.
I certainly don't want this. I certainly don't think hunters being in the city is, well, good for us. So, besides, I'm going to talk to Vern and say, staying inside in a city room, hotel room, while the adults handle this thing sounds absolutely terrible. Let's not do that.
I mean, I'm all for going out and doing things, but given the risk it might be out there, I don't want to do it without doing research, knowing what we're getting into.
Well, we do know one person who is probably the best at research of anyone I've ever met.
She's going to be preoccupied for the next 2 days.
That's true.
Which you didn't technically know.
That's true. I'm just saying, if we need to do research, the first person we would ask would be Charisse, because Charisse is, really good at that. That said, I do actually have 5 dots in investigation, whether it's intelligence or wits. I could look into it as an independent inquiry. I'm not a masquerade breach, so I might be able to do things without raising suspicions among the people. I might be, if I'm investigating things, I can do so more openly without risking the hammer of those bastards coming down on you guys.
It's the choice of words in front of the Nosferatu who doesn't really know you and only met you like 4 minutes ago.
I'm bad at choice of words in real life. That's the problem.
Calling him a masquerade breach.
I don't mean that in insult. I don't mean that to be insulting. I'm sorry. I noticed the faux pas I've immediately made. Shit.
You speak French, don't you? You could be speaking very poor French and making genuinely bad word choice because it is not your language.
No, she's a Venezuelan and American.
No, I apologize. It was not my intention to offend. I don't like the idea of being... Let's just say that I don't really like the idea of being cooped up in a building while, potentially dangerous things happen to people my brother cares about.
You have more friends down here?
A few that I met last night. But we're all Nos.
I mean, he won them a bunch of money.
I don't want to
last
see
night.
bad things happening to people in general. Our people.
All right. Well, I was attacked by cat.
Blame
What?
cats.
Oh, I thought you were saying that in character for
Me
a second.
too.
Henri has opinions.
No, one of my
Again.
cats just leapt up here and walked across my laptop.
Cats, Philippe's mortal enemy.
Henri the Nos cat once again has an opinion.
I love Henri the Noscat. Best. I love the idea of this Nos cat. It was just the most horrible Grinch-like creature.
It's a hairless cat. Looks like a goblin.
You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch Cat.
Okay, but you admit that you absolutely had a mental picture in mind when I said Grinch cat.
In fact, they only really call him a cat because of his size and the noises he makes. He doesn't really look like one anymore. Because he's green.
Right. So, anyway. Look, as guests in the city, while I appreciate the offer, it's not really a thing that I feel comfortable dragging you into just yet. But if I think I require the assistance, I will give you a call. And looks at Vern. In the meanwhile, try to keep yourselves out of trouble. And if you recall what other or specific information you were looking for, I will try to have it ferried up to you later. But right now, we're about to head out and hopefully bring back something more than bones and corpses.
And good luck.
Good luck.
Shall we go find our space back upstairs, I suppose?
I suppose so. I was so hyped to go on a heist, and John just shut us down.
You still can.
Still can.
Yeah,
We just need to take a step back, take into account this new information,
Priorities.
and formulate a plan around it.
We could create our own shenanigans, or tag along with someone else's shenanigans.
This is an event that was going to happen regardless. This was the narrative that was going to occur. You introduced a secondary option, which you still can pursue.
Well,
Yeah.
there is...
Fadir and I came up with a good point. Are you going to take orders from these cheese-eating surrender monkeys?
I was seeing that, and hearing you say it makes a lot more sense than it was registering in my head.
I think that's a Dylan Morin line. I don't remember now.
Okay.
Well, I do sort of... Isabel does sort of turn to Vern and say, Should we still ask for the information? I'm actually not sure.
Perhaps later.
All right.
We'll bid our farewells and head back upstairs.
Should we go check on our Malkavian? On our Malkavian nanny?
Again, you could also take this opportunity to try talking to any of the Ventru, Toreador, or any of the other kindred that are staying here, because you are not the only kindred guests currently in attendance of a protected Disabla establishment. You could also go speak to the member of the Disabla cartel, who's several floors above you. You know, she was able to speak with him easy enough.
Hello. I could at least give thanks on behalf of his clan, but family rather, clan, whatever. Disabla syndicate. There we go. Syndicate, cartel, bloodline. They're all pretty much interchangeable and acceptable as far as they're concerned. There we go. So yeah, I think that's part of what Charisse is. I think Charisse. I'm Charisse now. Hello, it's me, Charisse. It's my Charisse voice. And this is when it finds out that Aerie has not been playing Adventure this whole time. Aerie has just been one persona of a Malkavian. To be fair, I'm pretty sure my character. I'm pretty sure I could play this character as like at least 5 different clans at this point, of which Vandal is only one. So you walk back down the hallway and you call for the elevator. The elevator takes a short while to come down because, you know, they actually have to ferry up normal guests and then eventually come down for you. They descend. Please, step inside. Yes, of course. What floor?
What floor were we on?
Where the floor are we on?
You were on the 12th floor.
Right, because they're on the 13th.
Garrison's is the 13th. Is at this point, the building's construction, the top floor. Over the course of the next several...
And it's not marked the 14th floor, which is a thing that some buildings genuinely do.
Yeah, and it annoys the piss out of him.
So it's his private floor.
13 is his lucky number, so he's really pissed off that all of these buildings don't have 13th floors.
That's hilarious.
So yes, the entire 13th floor is basically his office and haven. And then, as the decades go by, additional floors will be added onto this building. But that's not a current issue. Right now, the building ends at the 13th floor, with the 12th floor reserved almost entirely for kindred, and then the kindred and ghouls, and then 11 and down are mortals.
Okay.
Okay, it is. We started a bit late, but it is 9:30. Do we want to take our 10-minute break now, or wait until it's been a full 90 minutes?
We can take the 10-minute break. The elevator door closes, and we go to commercial.
Dun, dun, dun. All right, chat. So we're going to take our 10-minute break now, and hopefully all of my equipment will still be working when we get back. Mercury retrograde! Blah! Until February 2nd. It's annoying. All right. So chat, we'll see you in 10. Bye! Hello chat, we have returned! This is Magic Fish Radio, and we do lots of stuff. Join our Discord to find out more about stuff, and if you want to do stuff with us on live streams. I have no brain cells left after a terrible bread machine accident yesterday, so that's all I'm gonna do. Back to game!
So yes, the elevator door closes, and the attendant asks you all again, what floor?
I think Isabel is going to, Isabel's going to say to Vern, I think there's a place we could potentially get some information we want. The 13th, please.
Is he expecting you?
I should probably call ahead then.
You might have to wait dealing with the secretaries. One moment. And he cranks it all the way up to the other unmarked section, which is the 13th. Because finding out that there's a 13th floor makes people nervous. Superstition.
I'm willing to wait. Besides, don't we have nothing? We have nothing if not time.
So he Lines of taking you up, taking you up, taking you up, taking you up. And the elevator eventually stops.
Isabel frowns. Isabel's sad that Vern didn't laugh at her extremely stupid pun.
Vern's just like, oh, how am I going to get information out of this guy? I'm really concerned about these hunters, but stealing shit sounds like fun. But wait, is Isabel talking?
Yeah.
Is that Vern right now?
You've summed up my thought process exactly. That's what's going on in my head.
Safety.
Stealing shit sounds like a lot of fun.
Safety. Hashtag Noslife.
I like how that's the big thing that Vern and Isabel have in common. Is that they just enjoy shenanigans.
It's like political shenanigans, hunter shenanigans, safety. So you really need a Shmise with that third arm. But yes, you wind up coming up to the 13th floor and are greeted by the rather lavish waiting area leading into the office of Garrison Toussaint. And there are large plants and huge portraits, and you see 4 women at the far end, currently positioned behind these large desks, 2 on one side, 2 on the other, chattering away in different languages on telephones and working on various. The words have flown out of my head.
Communication devices.
Yes, various
computer.
Yeah, for sending wireless transmissions and for sending telegraphs.
Radios?
Radios are a little more a NOS thing at this point.
Okay.
They have great faces for it.
One lady's attending to a dovecote. I did not.
My wife just made a joke about how NOS have the faces for radio.
I didn't hear enough of what she said. That was horrible. I love it.
Oh my god, they must get that joke a lot given that then.
Only from the tour.
They probably originated that joke, let's be fair.
You're right.
God, I can totally
probably
imagine.
Their joke.
As you both are
not mentioning a NOS like working as a radio talk show personality just because that's a thing they can do without breaking the masquerade that still like allows them to have a semblance of a social life in mortal.
Yep.
Good evening, South Chicago, and welcome back to WBTS, your late night 80s rock. I'm your 500-year-old vampire DJ, which is totally just a persona I have on the radio, and I am not actually a 5-century-old horrible blood-drinking monster.
Lives in the
All the people you hear me drain live on the radio are just part of the gag. On to our next caller. But yes,
this is the character I want to play now.
As you're both about to step off of the elevator, a very well-dressed Nosferatu just sort of materializes in front of you both. May I help you?
Oh my. Yes. If it's possible, I'd love to have a social meeting with Monsieur Toussaint at some point in the near future. Obviously, I know he's a busy man. I'm willing to wait plenty of time. There is plenty to do here.
Have a seat, and I will see when he will be able to see you.
Thank you.
He escorts you over to a couple of chairs where there's a small drink cart, one of which is this glass decanter that's kept above a small burner, which is meant to help keep the blood from coagulating.
My brain is in visualizing Jesus. A setup for absinthe, but like that doesn't have a heat source. I'm broken inside.
It's fine. Alcohol's way better than fake blood. In terms of not less bad. It's much less bad, I should say.
Well, yeah, alcohol doesn't affect you.
True.
So he escorts you both over, and then he steps down past the women working at the desk. He raps twice on the office before you hear a muffled voice, "Entrez," and He steps inside. He's inside the office maybe 2 minutes before he steps back out and he goes, Monsieur Toussaint has some time for you both. Please, right this way.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, my other two guests, he says as you walk in. He steps forward, arms spread, and he stops. Are you both as bothered by physical contact as your friend is? I would so hate to accidentally offend again.
Not in the slightest. Not in the slightest goodness, yeah.
Then welcome to my home. Comes up, gives Isabel a kiss on each cheek, steps over to Vern, gives him a kiss on each cheek. He places his hands on both of your backs and guides you to the chairs in front of his desk. Now, Zed, I heard that you wish to speak with me. Come, tell me, what is it that you need from me? What can I do for you to help settle this wound that has you staying at my establishment?
That is actually exactly part of why we were here. Well, I mean, also partially to thank you and your syndicate for your help establishing business operations and expand those, of course. I also
we're looking to expand into new markets.
Of course, and yes, and I hope that the market I provide is is suitable. I may not have the same reach as your family, but well, I do okay back home.
Oh, don't worry. I'm sure whoever was sent over there is going to handle things quite well.
Indeed. Now, beyond those things and the nicety aside, part of it was that we did. Part of it was that we did feel a little bad about the fact that we were staying here at your expense, and and so we were thinking about, well, how could we repay such a debt? We are staying here at his expense, right? Actually, I don't remember. I don't remember out of character.
You're staying here at the Prince of Boston's expense, more or less.
Yeah, the Prince of Boston called in a boon, which that person then called in a boon, and that person called in a boon to the DeSable clan because, somebody owed him a favor for something at some point at somewhere. You don't know exactly when or how far down this rabbit hole goes.
But vampire economy.
Yeah. So technically you're here on his dime because he's making no money on you all being here because none of you are tipping. But
start tipping.
Was that part of the social contract that I missed here?
I mean, it's expected, but you're American, so he's not really
okay.
Things have changed in 100 years. Wow.
No one has mentioned this to us.
Completely.
Dracus did not know that this was a social expectation in this setting.
Also, what we're supposed to be tipping in.
Yeah.
I mean, in the case of dealing
resource
with
dots,
money would be fine. Like depending upon your resource dots, would affect how much cash you would theoretically have on hand, or
with 3, I can just tip people sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely you could. But in this particular instance, it's mostly to clear out a debt, which to some kindred is worth more than the cash they would be making otherwise. Mm-hmm. Especially if there's an opportunity to now have someone else owe them a favor because somebody went to them and went, could you do me a favor to help clear up this debt? I'll owe you instead. Now we're talking.
Yes. Yes, we were thinking about a potential favor that we could potentially do for you. You see, fuck, I talk. I'm so bad at this out of character, and that's why this is so embarrassing whenever I try to do this. Well, we were more or less wondering whether Gesundheit.
What can we do for you?
Yes, we were wondering if there were potentially something we could do to for you, perhaps a favor that needs doing, something that's suited to our skills, maybe someone who needs embarrassing, typical things that's such as those.
I mean, I don't need an especially great deal of help embarrassing one who offends me. To be fair, there aren't many kindred who go out of their way to offend me. No. Maybe one or two, but they're Ventru. It's what they do. No offense intended, of course.
None taken, good sir. Quite frankly, after London, I think I may have had enough of my own clan for some time.
I sometimes feel that way at the courts here in Paris. There's a reason why so many of us in Clan de Sable prefer to deal with, well, everyone but the high clans. See, the beautiful thing about the Nosferatu, the Bruja, the Gangrel, is they'll tell you what's on their fucking mind. You don't need to deal with all of the rigmarole and the bullshit. The Malkavians are just fun for a night on the town.
Except this one.
Jesus is like the most straight-laced snowbake.
The Ventru and the Toreador. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love spending time with certain Toreadors, but the clan as a whole, we could do with the numbers diminishing a bit. Make us a more desirable and lower population clan.
Thin the herd. That's what you could do for them. Population control.
That is definitely not something that we can probably do.
That seems deeply illegal.
Thank goodness those hunters are here.
Look, to be perfectly honest, some of my clankin need to be a little more selective of who they bring in. Because there have been a lot of bad choices made. Like a lot of bad choices.
Oh dear.
Ugh, modern music. Ugh.
Prefer a good. I actually have, weirdly, I actually have Performance 1 piano, so I actually may know some of like the good music. So I actually have a dot in specialty in that.
Yeah, it's a question is what he considers modern music.
To clarify, because it needs to be clarified, when we say modern, do we mean? Do we mean like
or the other century?
Wait, shit. What's going on right now? Modern music is like Beethoven right now, I think?
It's 1920. Modern music is jazz.
Oh, it's jazz. No, right.
Well, actually, it might be ragtime. I don't know if it's jazz
yet.
Actually,
that's a good question. When you just to clarify, when you say modern,
the early aspects of jazz are kicking in. Ragtime is big here.
Broadway.
Yes. Yeah. When you say do you mean ragtime or do you mean Beethoven? Because
I mean, if you want the sensationalist, you go Beethoven. Myself, I've always been a bit more of a fan of Chopin and Bach, but the greatest things the Germanic speakers ever gave us. But that's besides the point. I don't so much mind ragtime. It gives me much less of a headache than some of the other more popular music that was becoming especially prevalent in the Americas around the late 1700s, early 1800s. That was far too much horn, far too much, and always off key.
Not a fan of Mr. Sousa, I take it. Is he around now? I actually don't know.
That's immaterial. My complaints about the embracing practices of the rest of Clan Toreador are immaterial at this point.
John Philip Sousa, 1854 to 1932. Yep, Sousa is definitely around right now.
Yep. So, what sort of favors are you exactly offering here? I mean, there's a big difference between just trying to embarrass someone and then trying to embarrass someone who might actually have offended me and has some measure of power.
I think Isabel exchanges a glance with Vern and says, well?
We're passing it off to me. I see. I will
I'm just wondering.
screw my head on straight and prepare to answer questions.
Vern, can you interface with the quest giver, please?
Well, I mean, like, well, he said he wanted a low clan person who knows how to cut the bullshit. Unfortunately, I talk too much bullshit.
Here's the thing. We're tourists, transient passing through this city.
Looking for a good time.
I see this as an opportunity for us to have a good time and for you to potentially get something done that your name doesn't need to be tied to. Or it could be, and the manner in which the thing was done is completely obscured. I have words. Because by the time anybody realizes, we'll be on our way somewhere else.
Yes, of course. Besides, it's just like you said. Some of these like Nosferatu with their poor embraces and their did I say Nosferatu? Some of these Toreador with their poor embraces and their I definitely know how to talk as a normal person. Some of these Toreador with their poor embraces and their horrible taste. Perhaps some of that garish nonsense deserves to be taken out of the eyes of the public, and well.
All of that Art Deco in New York. Ugh.
Oh, I'm rather fond of the Art Deco.
And I'm sure someone is, just not.
That's fair. It's a little bold.
Look, I'm a firm believer that not every art is for every person, but I like my plants. I like my earth tones. I dislike the heavy leanings of steel and concrete that Art Deco tends to go with. Mm-hmm. I like vibrancy. I like color. How far would you be willing to go for this act, hypothetically speaking?
Hypothetically speaking, well... As long as I mean, obviously, if it were to like end up with our heads on some like some Centaurus platter, that might be a little much. But everything below that, well, where's fun without risk?
Theoretically, if we can get out of the city and not have this follow us to Boston, that would be cool.
Boston or Vienna, as things may go. I imagine far easier for things not to follow you to Boston as to not follow you to Vienna. After all, there's a bit of an ocean in the way that way. No one finds my silly little quips funny, apparently.
There is a favor that you might do for me, depending upon how dirty you wish to get your hands. There's a particularly angry Bruja who's been making things difficult for some quiet business associates of mine. And if you could find some way to remove him from the board, I would not necessarily be heartbroken. Mm-hmm. Now, you make him leave the city by framing him for some crime against the prince. I'm perfectly fine with that. You kill him, so long as it doesn't come back on me, I'm perfectly fine with that. You wind up blood bonding him. I mean, I don't recommend it, but I mean, if that's how you go about things, let's just say I wouldn't exactly mind that. But he's been in the thorn in the side of someone I do business with quietly quite often.
If you want to point us in his direction, we can see what we can do.
Indeed.
His name is Thoreau Tremaine.
Thoreau Tremaine.
And he has been making things difficult for some folks who will on occasion run deliveries for me between between cities. And should you happen to get him to back off or vanish or disgraced, so long as it doesn't blow back on me, I think we can arrange a mutually beneficial arrangement.
Certainly would. Ruining the ruining, whether it be the reputation or the livelihood of some of a mutual enemy of an enemy of a member of the Sablas, while also getting to have a grand old time in a romp in Paris. I cannot think of a better way to spend a week.
Excellent. He takes a sheet of paper and scribbles down an address on it. This is where you're most likely to find him out hunting. It's not the location of his haven, but this is where you'll be most likely to find him, where he's least well protected. Though I would be careful, he very rarely travels anywhere without at least one of his children and a few ghouls.
Okay.
Noted.
I should also make a point to say that there were 2 stacks of sheets of neat paper on his desk. One that has his letterhead on it and one that doesn't. He pulled from the one that doesn't.
Interesting.
In the event you fuck up.
Yes, if things go badly, obviously it can't make it back to you, which perfectly fine. I understand how this works. All right. Now what do we do? Now I need to figure out how we're going to do whatever that is we're going to do.
He's a no, that wasn't Jetson. That was Samus. That was the kid. Some things you should know about him. He's a xenophobic little meld who dislikes my associates purely based on the absolute nonsense of the color of their skin. So if that helps persuade you towards a reason to exterminate him, he's also not very kind to the Nosferatu in this city. He imagines himself a member of the high clans, and so looks down on anyone else. He's a bad name to all Bruja. Not all Bruja are scumbags, just this one.
I understand that. Quite frankly, I find the like strange attitudes that some of the high clans have towards the low clans, quote unquote, very strange. After all, how can you be like? After all, how are you supposed to like maintain any kind of empire or any kind of power without being willing to get your hands dirty and willing to, you know, work with people who maybe have like a different viewpoint than yourself?
Same way mortals have for centuries. Not everyone has 2 brain cells to rub together to look at the fact that, treating those that are beneath you like shit has led to empires falling hundreds of times.
Yes, I believe I've heard about it happening like how many times here? I think it's twice now so far.
You are young if you think it's only twice.
I knew you weren't paying attention when we were studying history.
I mean, like there's the first French Revolution, which was like that thing, and now we're post the third, right? This is the third revolution.
You have to remember, this country was not always called France. This country, to be fair, like most countries in Europe, though our history is long, our nations are not actually so old. Most of them are only a handful of centuries at this point. And prior to that, we're still city-states, spitting in each other's faces and having conflicts. I mean, Greece is considered the birthplace of Western democracy, and Greece has really not been a country as long as you think it has.
Italy still isn't, says the cat.
Why is your cat speaking?
Look, I just found out that it's actually not regular cats, but it's a bunch of bastet out in the alleys. It's very, very annoying. French bastet always have an opinion on everything.
Look, our racket is simple. We want leftovers from your kitchens, and then we will leave you at peace.
You bastet have never given us peace!
Well, you've never given us dinner.
No, I just want to play.
You don't even eat. What is the problem?
See, now I just want to play Bastet that's just Salem. That's what this brings me to mind.
Hashtag Team Silicon. Woohoo!
Moving on.
Well, I don't need much more reason to hate this guy. We say we go gather ourselves a bit and see where the rest of the night takes us. Get punctuated by cat.
Yes. Take your time, get some information. There's no rush. As it is, your friend is still going to need another evening or so to finish what she requested.
All right.
Has she been staring at those books all day?
Well, you haven't seen her, actually, because the room she's in is now behind the door.
No, that's why I'm asking.
She was the last time I saw her. Very engrossed.
I hope she's getting.
And how close are we getting to dawn here?
Oh, you've still got a good, 5-6 hours at this point.
Okay. When we get down to 3, I'm dragging Charisse out. We're going to go do something just to get out of the books for a little bit.
It is not healthy to be spending all this time cooped up.
I mean,
even as a kindred.
If it's day 1, then she's been working on the mind book that she can't use anyway. So
no,
she'll be reluctant, but she'll, she has to eat.
I will let her know. Will you be dining out or dining in?
I'm gonna look to Isabel, see if she has an opinion on this.
Dining? I have no strong feelings on this. Today I can see going, and then I think about what happened to everyone. I think I'll dine out today.
Very well. Just be careful and keep it clean.
Of course.
And if things do get a little messy, you can reach us through the Nos that are probably wandering the city, and they'll get back and they'll provide a nice cleanup service, and I will repay them in favor and kind. They're quite good about that. Very responsible.
And I think there's a look with Vern and Isabel with being like,
I'm trying very hard to keep the look off my face because they said it's not anyone else's business yet. I'm not going to make it anyone else's business.
Oh, no, I wasn't thinking about that. I was just thinking about, Nosferatu being thought of as responsible, and then there's Vern.
In that case, if you're trying actively to keep this off of your face, give me a composure subterfuge check.
Isabel isn't thinking about that at all. Isabel is just thinking of Vern in the way siblings think of siblings.
Yeah.
But Vern is not taking it that way because Vern is concerned.
Concerned. 4 successes.
I have to do this opposed roll. 1 moment. Does he? Yes. He ties you at 4 successes. So he sees something of a look on your face, but ultimately lets it go because he can't quite read what it is, and he's not sure if it's just a facial twitch from being an Nosferatu, so he doesn't want to call attention to it if that's rude.
Brilliant.
Actually, if it's amenable to you, the repayment for this act is something I might be able to work in now. He's actually built up himself quite a little nest egg, which he keeps stored away in. Well, that was an awfully high-pitched one for you, Jetson.
He's doing his Brando impression 20 years early.
Which he's kept tucked away. I mean, I have no use for his money, but he's made that money by at least partially screwing me over. So if that money were to suddenly disappear and leave him destitute, I would not be terribly opposed to that either. Though I don't know where he keeps it.
Well, there are a few ways we could find some of that out. Well, it's almost like we're playing the traditional infiltration clan and the potential and one of the social infiltration clans.
Is there anything else I can do for you?
I think
not at the moment.
I think that's about everything. Thank you so much for the offer and for the yes, and for the fun, Will. And for the lovely conversation. And for the I actually have a lot to thank you for, don't I?
People usually do. Well, in that case, I bid you both good evening. I have a few other appointments I need to make.
Of course.
And then I need to grab a light dinner myself. So he gets up and he tries to lead you both towards the door to his office.
Yep, we're going.
Yep.
You are both then brought back out into his, again, lush, vibrant waiting area. The four of them are still going off in a bunch of different languages, firing off, making phone calls, typing away, stopping only to turn and speak to each other in French before resuming all of their various other contacts. Yeah, I realized you were opening a bag of dried strawberries and they thought you were going for a bag of treats.
There's a whole opera going on over there.
That was all Jetson.
Some drama in Jetson's mind.
He thought they were treats. He thought they were snacks. They're mommy snacks because they're dried strawberries and they're not great for him because they're just mostly jam balls.
Poor Jetson.
Yeah, poor Jetson.
Fadier's mentioned the cat can clearly sense the dramatic moment. Also, Fadier kept schooling us on art history.
I've not been following the chat.
Oh, how are we being schooled on art history?
Apparently we got Art Deco wrong. You're thinking of Stalinist architecture. Yeah. Art Deco does have color.
You're thinking of brutalism? I love the name brutalism, just because whoever invented it thought that squares were hardcore. Brutalism.
Well, moving on. My own a poor choice of art style aside. So you are both exited out into his waiting area, which is only part of the 13th floor. You don't know what the rest of it is, but you also don't exactly have permission to go wandering around looking in his underwear drawer. So, what are the two of you going to do now?
I think I'd probably head back down to one or each of our rooms and get dinner and start figuring out what our next moves are going to be, and also set a timer to get Charisse.
Yeah. Isabel was planning Isabel was planning on eating it on dining out for a bit, just because.
Are you going to wait till everyone else gets here, or are you just going to go out?
No, just one more chapter. It's fine.
I think what makes the most sense is she's going to go out, get some dinner, and say, "I'll be back as soon as I can." Gets dinner, heads back in.
So,
Eating
Isabel's...
around, eating around.
I'm going to remind you to please be careful, because there are rumors of hunters going around.
I will be discreet, and again, I can contact some of your friends if things go bad for whatever reason, just like he said.
So,
But they already lost other Nos.
I know. I'll be careful.
Jetson agrees. Be careful. Jetson says be careful.
So, Isabel's going to go off snacking. Vern's going to call down for a couple of wheelie charts to come up. Going to come back. He's just going to have the sticker boards up with the plan, the maps.
Yeah. The
Isabel's
whole conspiracy wall.
Yeah, Isabel's not about to be like going out to like establishments not owned by other vampires to like be her focal point for her dining place right now for obvious reasons.
Snack on one of the Bastet in the alley.
I don't think you can.
That.
I don't think you can do that. I think that's bad.
You can do that, and it is bad.
You said feed on a Bastet, and then Kitten went running scared.
Aha! Sorry, Samus. That's the Void Baby, right? Sorry, Samus.
Samus is the Void Baby.
Apparently, Samus is also a Bastet. So be careful.
I knew it.
Do not deny her treats, or she will do ag damage with her quaws. With your quaws. My quaws do agwo.
So, yes, are you going out to snack or are you going out to eat?
I think honestly, she's not actually hungry right now. I fixed her hunger die, I think. Wait, did I? No, that's right, because I rolled well I succeeded on the check to not gain a hunger die, I believe, but I gained one anyway.
Because of your withdrawal from Feyblood.
But then I drained 2 but left them alive, and yeah, I don't actually have any hunger dice right now. So in that case, I'm not actually hungry. Don't need it.
Okay.
I can deal with that later.
So Vern and Isabel start discussing what little information they have, and what do you think he's keeping the money in? Is it bills? Is it coins? Is it gold bars? Gold bars are going to be a pain in the ass to move, especially if we're going to Vienna. But we could see about just getting those shipped back to Boston.
You really want to talk to Charisse about this, because I think I've been taking notes that you two don't have. There's a really good reason to have money in Vienna.
So, we will...
Shamus, Jetson agrees.
Yeah, that one was definitely Jetson. So we will time skip ahead a few hours.
Yeah.
As there is a knock at the door, and Garrison is informing Charisse that her 2 compatriots are expecting her below.
But what?
It is only a few hours till dawn.
Okay. She just reluctantly kind of like puts the book down, but then like can't let go of it, and it's just like, okay. And she just sort of like does her like put it down, stand back. Okay, put it. Yeah. Thank you so much. I'll see you tomorrow night. And she says to the 2 mages in various states of emotional health.
Yeah, the one fidgety one has anxietied himself into exhaustion and has been sleeping in one of the chairs. The other one has just been sitting there, almost unblinking the whole time, going, "We'll be here."
All right, thank you.
How are their friends creepier than the vampires we know? How are these mages creepier than the vampires we know?
Because these are the sort of beings that can turn vampires into lawn chairs.
Fair enough.
Well, actually, Shemisi can do that too.
Yes, but you see, when they turn you into a lawn chair, you'll be completely indistinguishable from a regular lawn chair. When a Shemise does it, there's no mistaking that you used to be something with bone.
Bones and skin, yes.
There's something deeply disturbing about that, too.
Her sentence to 5 years is a coffee table.
That's why you don't pick fights with the flesh crafters. Oh, wait.
You don't pick fights with anybody. You don't pick fights with a Avantru because they know a bunch of people. You don't pick fights with a Nosferatu because they know everybody. You don't pick fights with anybody.
So a leather lawn chair, yeah, basically.
A screaming lawn chair if they leave the organs intact.
Is there a single clan that you do mess with? Who do you mess with?
Well, everyone messes with the Malkavians and then regret it later. But it looks like an accident, so people keep fucking with the Malkavians.
A lot of people are with the Ravnos, and also don't necessarily live to regret it.
Yeah, so Sharice timidly, like, did they say that they're waiting for her in their rooms, in her room, like...
They did not specify that.
Mm-hmm.
So you come down the elevator, and so whose room are you both in? Are you in his
probably? I was gonna say probably mine because I started setting up the conspiracy board.
Yeah, I think that makes the more sense.
So if you knock on Isabel's door, there's no response. You go to knock on Vern's door.
Ah, come in.
Well, I have heightened senses. I could just hear that they're in Vern's room.
Okay, yeah.
We're animatedly discussing things.
Therese?
Yes?
Come in.
All right.
Please, Vern, describe the scheme board.
Yeah. So, is there anything the two of us can roll to see how good of a scheme board it is? Because I want to roll for scheme board because that sounds like a funny thing to roll for.
Basically,
would be.
I've never wanted to roll for a thing more than to roll for Pepe Silica.
What was this guy's name again?
Thoreau Tremaine.
Thoreau Tremaine. Thoreau as in Henry David, Tremaine as in the Cinderella's evil mom.
Manipulation.
I forgot about that.
Larceny.
Manipulation larceny.
No, composure larceny, rather. Composure larceny, because you need to keep a cool head while planning a heist.
Okay.
So please roll for me.
The investigation instead of perhaps.
Composure larceny.
But what if it were investigation instead of larceny?
Well, I see you two have found a hobby while I've been busy.
Have you been
For better or worse?
to do any investigating?
Fair enough. That'll be a thing useful later. So just planning a heist is just larceny. Okay.
Yes. So composure larceny.
I also got 4 successes on 4 dice, so never mind. That was fine.
Okay, so you've got a lot of. Okay, we know he's going to be here. We're not sure where his haven is. Money, lots of money.
There's just a big like dollar sign written on the board somewhere.
Is this how you're going to pay the mercenaries in Vienna?
Potentially.
If
the ones that Mom and Leonie called ahead to tell you to
get this to work. I mean, if not, I have other ways. I do have like some resources to pay for, but
so
if we can, if we can get it this way, well, that could be potentially way better.
So
we can get it this way. It pleases our dear host.
All right. So is this a kindred person?
Yes, they are apparently someone who's been making trouble both for the syndicate, for our mutual friend, and for the Nosferatu. So that's
he's a Bruja and he's a real piece of shit.
Indeed.
He's also likely going to be traveling with at least one of his children or ghouls.
Yes.
So we're considering going after his cash.
Yes, I don't think the 3 of us are particularly.
He has money stored somewhere.
Yes, I don't think the 3 of us are particularly equipped to like take a Bruja and his child in a fight. That seems like a bad idea.
Well,
speak for yourself, but I still don't want to tempt fate.
What exactly is the contract here?
There's no contract. It's simply a mutual favor.
Oh, all right, but what is? So you just want to rob him?
We want to make it so. To be clear, the contract was that we would deal with this guy in such a way that he becomes no longer a problem. That whether that means he leaves the city in disgrace, whether that means he
disappears. Although I'd like to avoid that option.
Or whether he's simply made to not have any more political presence. I don't know how I would manage that, but leeway was given, is the point.
This isn't quite my area. I mean, I dare say you'll need money. Extra money in Vienna won't be a bad idea, but this is... Is this what you called me down here for? I'm not sure. I mean, I could do some augury, but...
This is what we're doing at the moment. If we want to go do something else, we can. I just thought it would probably be good for you to get your head out of the books for a little bit before dawn.
Yes.
Well, I mean, Mama Leonie also mentioned, something about... And she's flipping through her little notepad. Something about the Quincy's making a new ally in a bar. We'll know it when we see it.
True.
So far, I haven't spent much time in bars, so I don't think I've encountered...
I haven't either. Shall we take our chances at a bar?
How many days have we been in Paris? I forget. I've been reading.
This is the second, I believe.
Second?
This is the second night that you've had a chance to really run around. I think technically you've been in here like 3.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the third.
All right. Yes. Let's go out and see what happens. Do you have any idea what this man looks like?
I assume, were we given like a description or an photograph?
He gave you a loose general description, but he also commented that there's really sort of no missing him. Look for the most brouhaha person you can think of, but who's done himself up.
Oh,
like
so we're looking for James Marsters, is what you're saying.
We're looking for a new money. We're looking for a nouveau riche. We're looking for a nouveau riche.
Think someone who's built a little bit more like Lou Ferrigno in his prime, but dressed like a Ventrue. So he's all height and muscle, but then tries to paint himself as an intellectual and a...
Oh, Vandal Savage. He looks like Vandal Savage in a suit.
He's a less classy Vandal Savage.
There we go.
I will pretend to know what that means.
Vandal Savage is an extremely large caveman from an extremely large immortal caveman from the DC Comics universe, who is one of like the big major villains who like tends to be like
Alrighty.
his most recently, you might know him, he is like the big bad in Young Justice, whereas is probably his most classy version.
My entire foray into DC has been, to this point, Suicide Squad and like 2 seasons of Teen Titans.
I do recommend watching Young Justice. It's very good.
I had it recommended to me the other day. I just haven't had time to, get through shows.
That kind of basic JLA cartoon is... I found it... I don't know if it's good, because I'm bad at judging that, but it's very comprehensive.
Justice League Unlimited were good, especially if you followed from Superman and Batman the Animated Series that they continue.
And I'm pretty sure Savage shows up there, which is why...
He does in 2 episodes.
Yeah. All right.
He shows up in 2 episodes.
All right. Well, if I had to read words on a page, I would still be reading my book. Let's try something. Let's go out and see what fate brings us in allies. I'm curious. I call down to the front desk. Hello. I was wondering what other actually, there's no phone taps here yet. This is phones kept.
I mean, not as far as you know.
And all of the people I've talked to so far have been ghouls. It's fine. It's like, could you direct us towards any kindred run and operated establishments like taverns or bars or clubs? We were given rather cryptic suggestions by another member of my clan to, look for fun. We'd know it when we see it, etc. But just, what's good in Paris for our kind?
What's good in life?
What's good in life?
Of course, and they start leading off the names of like various taverns and pubs and places that one can grab a drink. They start by listing off, obviously, the more high clan focused ones, and then slowly but surely moving into the lower and lower clan preference territories. Eventually, she gets around to saying, if you're looking for a bit of rough fun, you might be wanting to head to some place like the Dusty Spade. And when she says the Dusty Spade, you feel this purring in the back of your mind, like, oh, this sounds like a good idea.
It's probably just the Bastet again. Oh, interesting. Do you happen to know if the Dusty Spade is also a rack? Is that even a term yet? I don't know. I wouldn't play vampire for another 80 years.
I mean, if you're asking if it's a place where Kindred can shack up for a bit, then yeah, they absolutely can.
Oh no, rack is rack means open feeding grounds.
At
least it isn't LARP. No.
Yeah. So long as someone else isn't in the middle of doing it, and they're not a ghoul that belongs to the owner, yeah.
Oh, okay.
All right.
So just try to keep it, like most of the clientele are piss drunk, but still just try to be a little subtle about it. Like, don't just feed out in the middle of the dance floor.
Could you tell me who owns if you know who owns this establishment?
Oh, that one's actually owned by a Malkavian by the name of Maurice Dumont.
Maurice Dumont. Ah, yes. Our new Frenchman name that we have to remember.
That's why I keep writing them down.
Stop asking for the names of characters in Paris if you don't want more French names. I don't know what.
I know. It's just funny. I know. I'm just giving you shit for no reason. I hope you realize.
I really hate trying to guess how all of these French names are spelled, but you know what? I do it anyway.
I'm very hard to go for ones that I think people would recognize and be able to spell. So
I can spell it. All right. Thank you for your help. Good night.
Good night.
All right. I've heard of an interesting sounding Malkavian bar. Let's go take a look.
All right.
I mean, if your new target hates low clans, then he's probably not a friend to the Malkavians either.
Fair enough. There was one other thing that came up today that we were told not to worry about it, but I'm worrying about it anyway. Just be careful while we're outside, right? Then I also heard some rumors about some hunters coming into the city. They know they came in. They don't know that they have left.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
They said it's probably nothing, but...
They also said they wanted to remain a Nos problem and not our problem, and not a...
Wait, how are the hunters a Nos problem, though?
That was the part they told us not to worry about. Some...
Yep.
Neonates apparently didn't come back last night. And, are probably, hopefully, just holed up somewhere, but like...
Cherie's like an idiot. I can't believe I did this.
Let's just tell the sensitive info to them all. Well, I mean, if anyone's gonna know after the Nos, it's the Malkavians.
Yeah.
Huh. Alright, well, I mean...
I'm just worried about my coterie mates. I don't want to have my friends walking around in a city where there might be hunters, okay?
Reese is a friend.
I'm choosing to trust that when I said they told us not to worry about it and that they wanted it to remain their problem, that you aren't going to go, just tell everyone about it.
Oh, no, of course not.
On purpose, anyway. And if there's a not on purpose option, well, that's hardly my fault for not knowing that.
Well, technically, Isabel told me. Well, no, you told me about the hunters. Isabel mentioned it being a Nosferatu problem.
Yes. If we're being technical.
Yes, I think anyway. You deserve. Honestly, I think you of all people can be like the most trusted with discretion on this matter.
Oh, of course, that's fine.
Also,
well, I mean, the odds are if there were hunters in town, the Malkavians already know.
Yes.
So,
also,
and I also figure, just from the standpoint of the three of us walking around, that if anyone's gonna notice trouble first, it's gonna be you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go look for some trouble then. Maybe not that kind, but some less dangerous and
maybe not.
kind. We'll see.
We say as if we're not picking a fight with a brute law when none of us are combat characters.
Speak for yourself.
Oh, you are a combat character?
Yeah.
All right.
Not a guns combat character, but I can grapple.
So
you got the potence?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So we head to the Dusty Spade.
Mm-hmm.
Where is it? How rough is it? How rough is the neighborhood?
You can smell the stale beer from a block away. And
good.
And you can see people stumbling out piss drunk and stumbling in slightly less piss drunk because they were just kicked out of somewhere else for being too wasted.
So it's like Isabel's place.
It's only slightly less classy than Isabel's, to be fair. There is people come out reeking of wine and brandy and ale, and it is you can hear them. Well, you can hear them from about the point you start smelling the beer and wine.
Yeah.
Everyone else can hear them from about a half block away. But you can hear some cheerful voices and some off-key singing. Here's some off-key singing.
Well, I'm not a Toreador. I can deal with it.
Yes, I'm definitely glad I was in Brace Function right now.
All right. So you three step inside, and almost no one pays attention to you because they're just singing and falling over each other. There's people making out over there. That's not making out. He's eating over there. Okay, that's different.
We're in a safe place.
Yeah.
Well, safe for us. It's a safe space.
That's good. That's good to see. Probably.
And you just have your heightened senses up, right? You're not trying to read auras at the moment?
No, just heightened senses.
Okay. So you all walk in, and this place is crowded and loud. It is popular, and people are slamming into each other as they stumble about left and right. Drinks are being taken from the bar to tables, from tables to the floor. And when someone's wasted enough, it's like, all right, yeah, out the front. Yeah, take this one out back. Put this one in the back room. And it is, it's not the place the three of you would. Nor I assume Vern is obfuscated at this point.
Yeah.
So the two of you walk in with Vern obfuscated, trying to dodge all of the drunken louts bumbling around.
I think I have perhaps misjudged the situation.
So who wants to go try finding information from somewhere?
How does one go about doing that?
Probably that would be me, wouldn't it?
Well, the most sober-looking people you see at this point are currently standing behind the bar. One of it is actually staring at the three of you, arms crossed in front of his chest, just leaning against the back rack.
Does he have a heartbeat?
No.
Okay.
I mean, not that you can really tell amongst all of the other noise if he specifically has a heartbeat, but he's pretty fucking pale, and he's just looking you in the eyes like...
Okay, we walk.
He's one of us, dear. He has no heartbeat.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I could tell that.
She's a Vontrue. Give her. She's a young Vontrue. Let Just... She'll learn!
See, I'm floating in the back.
Actually, I say that in French. She'll learn!
in
She's
French, when you
young.
finally approach, he's just like, the Ventrue and the Nosferatu. I expect more from another Malkavian.
Well, they're very nice. We do things differently in the new country. We have to.
Yeah.
Oh, so Vern was noticed. Very much. Cool.
Yeah. Well, he has Auspex.
It's a Malk bar. I told you it was a Malk bar.
Oh.
Right. So if I heard everything whispered through the network correctly, you're all here to gain information on that terrible waste of space Tremaine.
Mortimer!
I mean, I thought I'd get things squared away before you got here, cut through the red tape.
Well, that's true. All right.
Who's Mortimer?
She is. Don't worry about it. She would like to know about this waste of space, yes. I assume that he's not popular with any of the low clans, given what I've been told about him.
No, not since he set fire to that one Malkavian. But of course, no one can prove it was him.
Did what?
Who does that?
Well, he does.
This piece of shit, apparently.
Isabel. So this is the third city you've been to in your current status. This is not as uncommon, unfortunately. This is why Boston is so special, is because that's the one place our people can go where these things will actually see justice.
To be fair, if it wasn't for the fact that the prince had his dick buried so deep in everything he could shove it in, and if he could find a hole loose enough, he'd shove his head in that. Tremaine makes a point to cover himself so that the sheriff can't actually handle anything. There's never enough evidence that it was him behind it all. Everyone knows it was him. He doesn't exactly hide it in the way he says things. He's not nearly as clever as he thinks he is. Unfortunately, it's just never quite enough.
So he's a brute with enough pull to be a problem, and an ego the ego that comes with that kind of.
He must have someone to cover it up, just enough, because it doesn't sound like he's capable himself.
Well, yeah, his sire's the primogen.
Oh. That explains a lot. So someone like that maintains his power because of his connection there.
And his sire, while not nearly as big a jackass, is, still doesn't care too much about us Malks or the Nos or, anyone else. Because he also thinks of himself as a high clan.
Again, so he's. Well.
So really, all we have to do, one thing we could do is expose his connection to this, because low or high clan or low, you do not torch someone's haven.
If we can somehow embarrass him towards his primogen, his status could evaporate. That might work.
If you get him embarrassed enough that it affects his primogen will execute him.
That's that problem. Well, that's that problem off a lot of people's hands.
I mean, yeah, it's that, or you can have the that other problem handle this problem.
Oh, so they. Oh.
I told you they'd know.
Well, fair enough.
Look, if anyone's going to have tea with a Nos, it's going to be us. Let's be honest.
Fair enough.
This is how it is in most cities. We have to take care of each other because everyone else would just as soon burn us all to death in our own havens. Oh,
why the hell do you think the gang will just stay out of the cities?
If those problems were to take care of each other, that could be something.
Yeah.
You don't. Now that I say it out loud, you're right. Nope, you're right. Now that I say it out loud.
Hunters are terribly unpredictable and just awful and. Oof.
I'm happy enough to not have run into any of those in Boston so far.
No, just don't do that. I think it would be much more effective to just expose his connection to the arson.
Indeed.
How to do that? I don't quite know.
Now you said he's managed to hide his tracks, but everyone knows he did it.
Yeah, there's a difference between everyone knowing and being able to prove it enough for the prince to give two shits.
Mm.
Because of his connection to the Privet. This were some.
On the upside,
the other fact is that the prince is too busy putting his everything in everything that it'll fit, and in some cases things it won't.
Anyway, I assume that the upside of that is that since there, shall we say, nouveau riche acting Bruja, is that the prince won't care if what's his name takes a fall. The prince won't be protecting him. I'm sure that there is much a thorn in their side, is in the prince's side, as all the high clans, for their behavior and their ego, I suppose.
I'm honestly not even convinced the prince knows his name.
That's good.
I mean, the prince barely remembers the name he brings back to his bedchamber. Hell, I've been there 3 times. He still doesn't know my name.
Oh, that's...
Is it any good?
I'll never tell him that to his face, but...
Good to know.
Look, if you want a Toreador who's going to be a riot in the sack, you need to go back and speak to my man Garrison.
Alright, can we just please change the topic?
Sorry, yes.
Alright, so...
So it is at that point when a particularly drunken lout winds up crashing into the back of Charisse, and his hands come forward and just grab onto her chest. You've wanted your trigger. Here's your trigger. Please explain to them what happens.
So, so Charisse does this, like, makes this squeaky noise that should be something like a screech, but, like, something's not working right. And then she sort of spaces out. And then her entire body language changes. Kind of... She looks down, and who's the guy behind her?
Oh, just some drunk mortal.
Can I deck him?
Is he cute?
You could certainly do worse.
Miss...
Now, what can I do for you, sweetie?
What the fuck?
As she just turns around and kind of puts it, so... What do you want from little old me?
He burbles out something in half-coherent drunken French and just tries to kiss you.
Oh, no, sweetie. Pay the toll first. And she drags him. Is there a nice dark corner?
Down that way to the right, sweetheart.
Okay.
Isabel looks at the spot where she thinks Vern is and is like...
I'm going to look toward your host here, who I assume is Maurice.
And she just sort of leads him off to a... I'm sure he doesn't even blink. Mortimer probably already told him.
Malkavian were waiting to see if it was going to be here or somewhere else.
Yeah, she unbuttons the collar immediately and just like... Yeah, she's not going to drain him. Do you mind if I... Oh wait, she's still a consensualist. Oh, but he's drunk and...
He's drunk and he groped you first. And then tried to kiss you. You're pretty sure he's consenting.
Okay.
I
would call this enthusiastic consent, and I don't drain him completely, but I'll, that's nice. And then just sort of leave him asleep somewhere.
Yep. Let's see. What would this be to keep yourself from getting drunk on drunk blood? That's how.
I almost said con. I'm like, no, not con. Stamina?
Yes, but it's stamina what?
Stamina resolve?
2 attributes? That's uncommon.
Oh, I'm used to playing N-Wad.
Yep. We'll call this...
Stamina occult! Oh, definitely.
We'll call it stamina medicine.
Do I have any medicine? No. Okay. I'm gonna spend a willpower.
Well, the willpower will allow you to re-roll up to 3 dice hunger die.
Okay.
Yeah. That was my fault before. I take full responsibility for that.
My stamina is a 2.
Mm-hmm. Well, don't forget you still have a pool that you can pull an extra 5.
Oh, yes! I, in fact, have that pool.
I don't know if you saw earlier, but I did redeem 2 more.
I added those. Yep.
Cool.
Okay, so... 3 dice. I have 1 success.
Okay. With 1 success, you are definitely feeling the buzz.
Got a buzz, but still coherent.
Yeah, you're coming back.
Let's face it, the kids need it right now.
You've got maybe a little more swagger than you're intending, and that's not entirely intentional.
I mean, I always have more swagger like this. So, you see Charisse come back as she's walking back. She's like, ah. And she is flipping through her notebook. How long? Oh, I'm in Paris.
Charisse?
Okay.
Indeed you will.
You missed a little on the corner of your mouth there.
Thank you. So
Maurice is just going back to wiping down the bar at this point.
So that's Maurice. That you're Vern and you're Isabel?
Yes. Who are you, Charisse?
You want to explain?
Oh, a lady never tells.
Oh.
But you can call me Reason.
Isabel is upset that this is kind of working on her.
Oh, sweetie. There's so much I can teach you. Based on her notes, I think you need it.
Mortimer's just like, Riza, be a little nice, please.
Oh, you think this isn't me being nice?
I know this is you being nice. I mean, like normal people nice.
I know, they're young.
So, I mean, also, you've got the chance to get in and get some dirty, dirty fun if you follow along.
I mean, how else they gonna get in close to Thorough Tremaine?
Oh.
You know what? I'll leave the rest of this to you. I'm just going to sit back here and make sure Charisse stays napping in the back until you're done.
Okay,
So, I'm sorry, are you another person in Charisse? Don't know if I understand.
Oh, there's been a lot more people in Charisse than she's aware of, but we won't go there. She's sensitive.
Does she even know that this is a thing that apparently happens?
Well, she read notes. Were those notes directed to you, or...?
Poor dear is still very firmly convinced that she's, has a memory problem.
Ah.
She doesn't look too hard at the evidence of what she was doing in those memory slip times, but, you know, it works out for me, so I don't have to go into these things blind.
So,
I met Mama Leone!
Yeah.
She met her.
Are you a ghost inhabiting her of some kind?
You're so cute!
It's probably best to just accept that this is the reality, Isabel.
Well, I know. I'm just curious. I just want to know what the reality is here.
Let's just say, Malkavian family traits get a little extra interesting when there's fey blood in the mix.
There's what?
Well, I can't confirm that, but I have my suspicions. Anyway, so...
Am I weirdly hungry for some reason?
I don't know, sweetie, are you?
Make me a willpower check.
And that's
This is terrible.
So that's going to be 3 dice. I spent the point earlier.
Yes. If your willpower is 4 and you spent 1, you'd be rolling 3 dice.
All right. 1 success. And a 1 on the hunger die.
There is no hunger die for willpower.
Oh, 1 success.
Okay. At 1 success, at the mention of Fey blood, Riza, you were watching Isabel saunter her way towards you, her eyes on your neck hungrily. Vern, you see Isabel walking towards Riza and is just giving off this sort of predatory swagger. And Maurice is sitting back there going, you better stop that Ventrue.
Hey, Izzy.
In my bow.
Oh, sweetie, I would never let it get that far, but I'm not gonna look a gift Von True in the mouth. Because what happens when Von True drink Malkavian blood? I have a new pet. And I think Charisse just takes Isabel into another dark corner. She's like, I see someone's been tippling in Paris.
Yes, it was. It was an experience, a fascinating, brilliant experience that I've.
Well, I can't say for sure you'll get the same hit off me, but I'm curious to hear the evidence that we collect, and just sort of like nick and gives you a little bit of a wrist.
Oh man!
And 1 success wasn't enough to succeed on that check.
No, so she's
Drink up.
She's drinking.
I'm not gonna let her diablerize me.
Oh no! Like I don't think she's trying to.
Yeah, she just wants to hit. She's not.
I think 1 success means she's not gonna completely lose her shit to do that. She's just gonna drink.
Oh, Malk Maven's here. They've actually seen this character in action.
You don't eat friends. That's not a thing you do.
No, but you do let them blood bond themselves to you.
1 drink is not enough to blood bond, is it? It's like 3, isn't it?
No, there are stages to blood bond.
Stages?
You are now bloodbound stage 1.
Mm-hmm.
This is gonna be really funny when Charisse comes back.
So am I bloodbound to Charisse or bloodbound to Risa?
I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Who said there was a difference?
And then she just sort of like, kind of takes, I'm sure Isabel is wearing a necklace, so she just sort of takes her by the necklace and kind of leads her back to the bar.
Oh my. That is her first taste, by the way, of vampire blood.
Since your embrace, yes.
You think you're the bad idea squad. You just met the queen of bad ideas.
We're a fucking mess.
We're such a mess.
So,
I'm the sane one in this scene.
So I take it, Mr. And she's talking to the bartender. So I take it, Mr. Tremaine. Now, does he outwardly dislike our people, or is he willing to slum it if it means he can brag to his friends?
Oh, no, he openly despises us. If he shows up in one of our establishments, it's in order to cause us grief. I'm slipping into the wrong accent.
I do that so often.
If he comes to one of our establishments, it's to cause problems.
Alright, so... Sadly, I guess it's, yes, go with the other idea, which is frame him for his actual crime. But
that
I mean,
might be a problem.
Oh, that's a classic one I've read about.
Well, that's the thing. If he's covering up the real evidence, that's one thing. Can he cover up a fabrication as easily?
Probably not.
If he's not, I will say there is another option that Risa did allude to. If I read that correctly.
Oh, it's Riza.
Riza, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you have every desire to satisfy this person's desire right now. And also,
Yes.
I must make a correction. It's no longer 3 steps of blood bonding now. Now it can go as high as 6.
So what does one step mean mechanically, just to make sure?
In order to go against the desires of a blood bond, you have to make a check. Otherwise, this person is your best friend. This person is the person you care about more than almost any other. You would do anything to put a smile on their face and get another sweet taste of that nectar poured down your throat. Basically, it's what every ghoul is to the person who owns them.
Yeah, that's... Now I understand how Miss Violet feels about me.
Yeah. They are devoted to you, and they love that sweet, sweet vitae. And you were already at a disadvantage because there's traces of fey blood in there, and you already had that sweet, sweet nectar.
And I am slightly trying to not be addicted.
Alright.
Too late.
So... I think this is something we should talk about back at our hotel.
Yes, of course. Of course, ma'am.
Do you want a snack before we go, sweetie?
A snack off. Didn't I? She
Would
is
you like
articulate.
Would you like something more mundane to try and level out a little bit, sweetie? Vern, did you want a snack, dear?
No, I'm good.
I take it you've been more sensible with your food options since we've been here.
Evidently.
Well, when in Paris.
Here's the thing about... I think Isabel has never actually, like, had this kind of feelings for somebody before, because she's usually just a swaggering, like, jerk who, like, sometimes, like, has some fun times, but doesn't really think much about it afterwards.
Is it still that vampires have that 1 point blood bond feels for their sire?
Early on, she would have had sensations like this for her sire, yes. But he obviously weaned her off of that at some point, so...
Yeah. Also, again, Johann was... Yeah, and again, it would have been, like, indistinguishable from the actual affair we were having at the time anyway, I think, at that point. This is different.
Vern, do you want to get a snack before we go back? Was this excursion everything you dreamed of and desired, Vern?
Everything and more.
I certainly am that.
I feel so sorry for Vern.
And that sounds like a great place to end the session for this evening. With Sharice's counterpart, Riza, leading her coterie back to start in a new life of debauchery and misadventure.
Well, at least for the rest of the night, because she wakes up as Sharice. Sad face.
Sure. But I'm ghoul to Sharice regardless, I'm pretty sure.
You're blood bonded. Ghouls are more.
Yes.
And Sharice will have no idea when she wakes up. Because Risa doesn't take nearly as good notes.
Risa thinks it's funny not to.
Sometimes she will. I can't do 2 sets of... I'm not good enough a role player to do 2 sets of handwriting in my own notebook, so I just have 2 colors of ink.
Because, yeah, Risa actually has a different handwriting, doesn't she?
Yeah. Oh, I should...
So has
we'll
has Risa just been going on this whole time behind the scenes and we've just never seen it before?
Why do you think my beast
We've
has a
seen
southern
hints.
accent? That's why my beast has a southern accent. I'm curious to see what Risa's beast sounds like.
We'll see what her beast triggers.
It's a cranky Englishwoman. Anyway. Yeah, I've been waiting to do that for a while.
I suspected something like this a while back, but like...
I had absolutely no suspicions whatsoever.
Actually seeing it happen is so much different than going, that's interesting.
This is a very stable Malkavian. I'm suspicious. Yes, Malkmaven, another world, another time. In the age of Gotham. Yeah, and I guess that's game for tonight. Sorry we ran over. But I had a feeling you wanted to follow your disbelief for a little while.
Yeah, that was worth it.
Honestly, I almost wanted the I almost wanted the timing to end. Like, I thought Riza might turn around and, like, knee the guy in the crotch, and I figured that would be the best, like, cliffhanger ending for the... It's like, just, bam! Oh, sugar, please. And, like,
sweet.
That's what we call session.
Why am I less... Okay, has session been called in? Have we stopped recording yet?
We're still recording. We have not done the outro yet. So, thank you, everyone, for watching. This is Magic Fish Radio. I am very happy to play my old LARP, Malk, again. She was even more fun to play in full-body costuming and movements, and, 2 sets of body language, 2 accents. It was amazing. Oh, the good old days.
I want to do that. That sounds awesome.
It can be. It's hard to do Malkavians without being horrible, but I think I'm doing okay. I researched. But yeah, this is Magic Fish Radio. We do tabletop RPG streams a lot on Tuesdays and Saturday nights. Tonight, Tuesdays, are Vampire the Masquerade V5 set in the 1920s. Saturday is we alternate between NWAD and space, and random indie game one-shots. We'll see what's happening this week. I don't know yet, because my bread machine exploded yesterday, and I haven't had a chance to do any work. Or any channel-related work until tonight, just now. And, I'll do my outro. So I'm this on Twitter. I'm also at Magic Fish Radio on Twitter, and join our Discord to find out more about what I'm rambling on about. I also do a stream on We Are Nerdsmith on Thursday nights called Romp Across Ravnica, where I play the lovable dumbass Tabaxi Barbarian Moo. And apparently we level up every session, so that's gonna get real fun real fast. Well, it's already fun, but it's like, a lot to keep track of, even for a barbarian. So yeah, that's me, so y'all do your outros, and I will go find someone to raid.
Working counterclockwise. That would be you, Ari.
All right, hi. I'm Ari. I have nothing really to plug except what do I just let's just keep making this a thing. Let's go with Thursday. If you're in the Chicago area, did you know that the game store Games Plus has a Star Wars Armada? A community for Star Wars Armada of like all war games, and I've just gotten into it. You should visit there one of those times. It's a lot of fun, not just for Armada, but for various reasons.
And Dracus?
Hi, I'm Dracus. I've been playing Vern, the apparently sensible one in this moment. I'm here on Saturdays playing Klaus, who is the resident asshole mage, which is a good time always. I do other fun stuff. I'm on Discord, 90% of my waking life. So, find me there or Instagram, just like I am in chat.
And I'm John, and my presence on the internet is restricted to basically here. So you can find me on the Discord on Magic Fish Radio, and that's probably about the best place you will if you want to find me for whatever reason. Yes, thank you all for watching. Hope you had fun.
And I keep forgetting to say, but we are still looking for more players for this game. So if you would like to stream some Vampire the Masquerade set in the Roaring 20s with at least one Malkavian with dissociative identity disorder, come talk to us on our Discord. One day I'll remember to tweet about it, but the Discord is the best place to go, because I definitely check that more than I check Twitter. And speaking of which, we are going to raid We Are Nerdsmith, because why not? They weren't streaming last week, so they're streaming now, so we'll go raid them now. I believe they are playing a D&D game called... I forget what it's called, but it's a really funny D&D game. Yes, Malk Maven, go to... How are you not on the Discord already? Dude. Alright, so get ready to raid. We are nerds. Yes, I did it right! Yay!
Nicely done.
Woohoo!
See you all later.
Until next time, whether you're watching live or on VOD, please take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and let's all get through this new the latest year of apocalypse together. Bye.
Ooh.
Bye.